Alright folks, gather round because today we're diving headfirst into the bluegrass state Kentucky. But we're not here for the bourbon or the horse races, oh no! We're on a mission into the shadowy nooks and crannies of some of its most notoriously haunted locations. Welcome to our spine-chilling journey through Kentucky's most haunted locations. I'm your ghostly host, and I'll be guiding you through these tales of the unexplained. Now, I'm not saying I believe in ghosts, but I'm also not saying I believe in ghosts. I'm what you might call a paranormal agnostic, waiting for that one piece of irrefutable evidence. So prepare yourself for ghostly tales and eerie encounters because Kentucky has a surprising number of places where things allegedly go bump in the night. We'll be sifting through the legends, the eyewitness accounts, and the downright bizarre histories of these spots. From sprawling, abandoned sanatoriums to old-timey taverns where the spirits served aren't just the ones in bottles. So dim the lights, grab your security blanket, no judgment here, and let's see if we can find out what's really lurking in the heart of Kentucky. Or at the very least have a good time exploring some incredibly creepy architecture. First up on our grand tour of Kentucky's spookiest spots is the one, the only, Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Built in the early 20th century to combat tuberculosis, it saw an astronomical amount of death. One of the most infamous features is the body chute or death tunnel. This tunnel transported deceased patients discreetly. Then there's the fifth floor, known for its brutal treatments. Room 502 is particularly notorious. People claim to see shadowy figures and hear disembodied voices, and let's not forget little Timmy, a ghostly boy who plays with a ball. The stories from Waverly are endless disembodied screams, phantom footsteps, and apparitions. So, is Waverly Hills truly haunted? You decide. Alright, next up we're heading to Wilder, Kentucky, to a place that's less tragic sanatorium and more hellmouth than a honky-tonk. I'm talking, of course, about Bobby Mackey's Music World. This unassuming country music nightclub has a reputation that far exceeds its musical offerings, at least in the paranormal community. It's been called one of the most haunted places in America, and some even claim it harbors a literal portal to hell in its basement. The history of the site itself is where the trouble allegedly begins. Long before it was slinging beers and hosting line dancing, the building, or rather the land it's on, is said to have been a slaughterhouse in the 19th century. And not just any slaughterhouse, but one with a particularly gruesome well in the basement, supposedly used for, well, unpleasant things. This well is often cited as the focal point of the demonic activity, the aforementioned portal. Then there are the layers of tragic and violent stories associated with the building. One of the most famous is the tale of Pearl Bryan. In the late 1800s, Pearl was a young woman who was murdered, and her headless body was found nearby. Her killers, Scott Jackson and Alonzo Walling, were eventually hanged for the crime. Legend has it that before their execution, they cursed the land and vowed to haunt it. And some say Pearl herself, still searching for her head, makes an appearance. Another prominent spirit supposedly haunting Bobby Mackey's is Johanna. The story goes that Johanna was a dancer at the club in the 1950s who fell in love with a singer named Robert Randall. Her father, who disapproved of the relationship, allegedly had Randall killed, and then Johanna, in her grief, poisoned her father and then herself in the basement dressing room. Her ghost is said to linger, often identified by the scent of her rose petal perfume. Employees and patrons of Bobby Mackey's have reported a wide array of paranormal experiences. We're talking apparitions, disembodied voices, objects moving on their own, and even physical attacks, scratches, shoves, the works. The ghost of a man in a cowboy hat nicknamed George is often seen, sometimes even interacting with staff. So, is Bobby Mackey's Music World truly a gateway to hell, teeming with vengeful spirits and demonic entities? Or is it a place with a dark and muddled history, where tragic events have been woven into a compelling and terrifying local legend? I'm leaning towards the latter, but hey, I've never been in that basement alone at night. One thing's for sure, it's a place that knows how to tell a scary story, and sometimes that's all you need for a good haunting. Alright, let's class things up a bit, shall we? Our next stop takes us to Louisville, to the opulent and historic Seelbach Hilton Hotel. This isn't your run-of-the-mill haunted house. This is a place of grandeur, a beaux art masterpiece that has hosted presidents, celebrities, and, if the stories are true, at least one very famous ghost, the Lady in Blue. Opened in 1905, the Seelbach was the brainchild of two Bavarian brothers, Louis and Otto Seelbach. who wanted to bring a touch of European elegance to Louisville. The most famous ghostly resident is, without a doubt, the Lady in Blue. Her story is a tragic one, steeped in romance and heartbreak. Legend has it that in 1936 a woman named Patricia Wilson came to the Seelbach to meet her estranged husband. He was supposed to arrive from out of town, and they were planning to reconcile. She waited and waited, but he never showed. Devastated, Patricia, clad in a blue dress, allegedly took her own life by throwing herself down one of the hotel's main elevator shafts. Guests and staff alike have reported seeing the apparition of a woman in a blue dress, often on the mezzanine level or near the elevators where she supposedly met her tragic end. She's usually described as looking sad or forlorn, a classic heartbroken spirit. Her appearances aren't always visual. Sometimes it's just the faint scent of her perfume lingering in the air or a sudden inexplicable cold spot. Others have reported feeling a sense of melancholy or sadness in certain areas of the hotel, particularly on the 8th floor where she was supposedly staying. The Seelbach, with its grand, echoing spaces and its many hidden corners, is the perfect setting for a ghost story. Imagine walking down a dimly lit corridor late at night, the sounds of the city muffled outside, and catching a glimpse of something out of the corner of your eye. The staff, many of whom have worked there for years, often have their own encounters to share, usually told in hushed tones. Beyond the Lady in Blue, there are other, less specific reports of paranormal activity. Doors opening and closing on their own, lights flickering, strange noises in empty rooms, the usual ghostly repertoire. Some guests have reported feeling like they're being watched or hearing faint whispers when no one else is around. The Lady in Blue isn't a terrifying presence. She's a tragic figure, a reminder of a love story gone wrong. It's a haunting that fits the elegant, slightly faded grandeur of the hotel itself. So if you find yourself staying at the Seelbach Hilton, keep an eye out. You might just catch a glimpse of a woman in blue, forever waiting for a husband who never arrived. Next, we're moseying on over to Bardstown, Kentucky to visit a place that's been serving up spirits, both the liquid and allegedly the spectral kind, since the late 1700s. I'm talking about the Old Talbot Tavern. Built in 1779, it's one of the oldest stagecoach stops in America. Historical figures like Andrew Jackson and Jesse James have stayed here. Some say their spirits never left. Guests report disembodied footsteps, apparitions, and objects moving on their own. The Old Talbot Tavern embraces its haunted reputation. Is it truly haunted or just filled with compelling folklore? Hard to say for sure. For our final stop on this spectral tour of Kentucky, we're heading to Frankfort, the state capital, to visit Liberty Hall. This beautiful historic mansion, built in the late 18th and early 19th centuries, isn't known for demonic portals or violent poltergeists. Instead, its ghosts are said to be rather more genteel. Liberty Hall was built by Senator John Brown, one of Kentucky's first U.S. senators. The most famous ghost of Liberty Hall is the Gray Lady, believed to be Margaretta Varick. She's often seen as a shimmering grayish figure gliding silently through the hallways. Another prominent spectral figure is a Spanish opera singer heard singing from empty rooms. Liberty Hall is now a museum, and staff report unexplained phenomena. Cold spots, footsteps, and moving objects are common. Liberty Hall, with its genteel ghosts and rich history, offers a quieter, more contemplative haunting. Well, there you have it, folks. Our whirlwind tour through some of Kentucky's most allegedly haunted hotspots. From the tragic echoes of Waverly Hills to the supposed hellmouth at Bobby Mackey's, the elegant sorrow of the Seelbach's Lady in Blue, the rowdy spirits of the Old Talbot Tavern, and the genteel ghosts of Liberty Hall, it's clear that Kentucky has more than its fair share of spooky stories. Thank you for joining us on this haunted tour of Kentucky. I hope you enjoyed our little foray into the unknown, or at least found it mildly diverting. Whether you're a die-hard believer, a staunch skeptic like myself, mostly, or somewhere in between, there's no denying the fascinating history and compelling legends that surround these places. Do these tales speak of actual restless spirits, or are they simply the way we process history, tragedy, and the unexplainable? Honestly, I don't have the answer, and that's kind of the fun of it all, isn't it? The mystery is often more captivating than any definitive proof could ever be. So, what do you think? Are these places truly haunted, or just full of old building noises and overactive imaginations? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, if you enjoyed this journey into the Eerie, Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more ghostly adventures or whatever other weird stuff we decide to explore next. Until then, try not to think too much.